All right, so I'm going to show you how easy it can be to produce beautiful R&B and soul music. Now, if you're a music producer or a beat maker who's looking to get into R&B or soul and haven't quite mastered music theory and chord progressions or how to seriously play the piano or the keyboard the way you want, but you want to produce this type of music now, this is for you. This is also for those of you who may already know how to play, but you're looking to find new inspiration and new song ideas. Now, before we get into it, I want to speak a little bit about the producer's mindset and why it's so important to have a go-to library of chord progressions that have been proven to work time and time again. Now, at the end of the day, our job as music producers is to give the people what they want to hear and ultimately give the listener a great musical experience. Now, whether you know what you're doing or not, 9 times out of 10, you're simply taking what works or what has been proven to work and expounding upon that with your unique creative spin and explorations. Okay? Now, in this case, we're using chord progressions and using them to create something familiar, but at the same time, new and refreshing. Now, always remember, the only difference between an amateur musician or producer and a professional one is the professional has stored up knowledge of what works, and they can use that knowledge anytime to produce and reproduce great sounding music. Okay, so the R&B chord progressions MIDI library was created to give you that edge of a professional musician with proven chord progressions and chord voicings that simply work time and time again to not only inspire but to really free you up to be creative on top of proven musical movement. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys how to use the library and potentially make some beautiful, great sounding R&B and soul music. So the library is divided into 3 main folders. You have R&B, soul, and the extra folder for hip-hop, R&B crossover music. Within each folder, you have subfolders labeled with the type of chord progressions contained in that folder. The MIDI files are named with the key signature followed by the suggested tempo, and within the brackets you'll have notes that summarize what's going on in that file. Notice that the B section is included for many of these chord progressions in addition to many different variations for quick song construction. You also have at least 2 separate keys for most chord progressions. Okay, so I've taken one of the chord progressions from the R&B MIDI library and very quickly composed an R&B track. Mind you, this did not take me long at all. This is one of the advantages to having quality chord progressions at your disposal. Now, once you have that foundation of music, it's very easy to build on top of that. So I'm going to just play the track and then I'm going to break it down and I'm going to show you how I did it. Okay, so again, very simple track, very easy to make. I used one of the more simple chord progressions for this example. A 3/4 movement, which is very effective in this case. All I did was import the MIDI file straight from the library. Now I'm using some vintage keyboards inside of Kontakt. and this was clearly the start and the inspiration for the track. It's almost like the chord progression speaks to you and tells you what to place over it. Okay, so I added the drums next. Nothing complicated, very simple, very basic, but they need to stand out and be bold. When producing R&B, it's always good to have very thick, rich drum sounds. So we have a nice strong rhythm section serving as the backbone for the track. Just a kick, a snare, a clap, some shakers, and here we add hi-hats to build it up. Again, very simple. Doesn't have to be too complicated. Okay, so next I added a melody with these bells, but first I want to show you how the bass line complements both the chord progression and the bass drum. Okay, very simple, but a good rule of thumb for bass lines is to follow the melody of the chord progression and the rhythm of the bass drum. Obviously, that won't stand true for every song, but it's a good rule of thumb. Notice the turnaround here. Okay, so I'll show you the melody I did with the bells, and this is just to add color and another focal point for the listener. Now, it's just something that spoke to me and came up in a moment. And we bring it in around the 7th bar to create a build for the track. Okay, notice the space between the notes, how simplistic I tried to keep it. No quantization, just kind of played it out. Okay, last but not least, I wrapped it up by throwing in a guitar sample I bought. Got it from Big Fish Audio, and this adds character and makes it sound a little more interesting. Again, I'm just complementing the chord progression. And as you can see, I sped up the sample at the end of 8 bars just to round it out. We added a little guitar wash effect. And that's it, guys. Not hard at all, took no time to make, and you could literally do this all day and come out with 10 to 15 beats a day if you wanted to. The thing to remember is that I was able to layer 4 simple elements on top of the chord progression, which served as a musical bed for this beat. So next I want to sample a few more of the chord progressions from the R&B MIDI library and show you how easy it is to tweak the chord progressions and create entirely new songs.